Good evening all, hope you're doing well. We had the CPI and FOMC today, which you probably would have been aware of. So we saw a big reversal and roller coaster. And now the thing is, we are euphoric right now. In so much technicals has really gone for it. The big picture is that we're buy, and they've actually sold over the last 24 hours. So we've got a lot of green. So it does beg the question: is this USD resurgence warranted? Fundamentally, sentimentally, not from looking at the risk calc, but we have had seen a reversal if we come to the timestamp bubbles, and well, we did, but now we've we've refreshed the data. So what happened is that they'd gone long, and on the last 4 hours, in fact, I'll show you because this is currently correct. But when I looked at it last, when we had the last snapshot, come to the dollar. And you see what I mean. Because obviously every 4 hours, it takes a snapshot, and obviously we've had the window close, and the new 4 hourly data has reopened. And so what happened at the start of the day, they'd gone long, and then over the last 4 hours, but the 4 hours just before the window closed, and they shorted. So, obviously it would have been a sell, which we saw, and then it would have been a buy, which we would have seen, just looking at the cross dollar charts. So this is just giving you an example how to use that data, and also you can see why things did a U-turn as well. Obviously we had that data out, it's really important data, but it also goes to show how powerful the sentiment is as well. One thing you may note, can you see something in between the two data that you can see? Nothing is respecting what the daily close suggested. So we've got reversal on Aussie, CAD, Swiss, Euro, Pound. See, Euro, Pound switch places there. So that would have meant the Euro, Pound would have been quite tricky today. New Zealand dollar reversed. Yen didn't move from its daily close, but moved ever slightly in 4 hours, and obviously we saw that reversal in the dollar. So it just tells us that we had a U-turn on everything today. So I think what you could do, if you've got the sheet access, use the daily close as like an overarching view, but then perhaps use the 4 hourly to try and confirm the daily close view. And now we see there was a mismatch. So you could have done one or two things. You could have probably sat, away, and just monitored, or you could have just looked at the 4 hourly and then think, well, okay, I'm going to try and have a go, and knowing that it was potentially going to be a gamble, and if you took it, it would have paid off. And we've seen that strong dollar. So that goes back to whether or not we should be seeing a strong dollar on the risk calc. Probably not, but we've had that data out and we've had that reversal on the sentiment, so perhaps we can. And now remember, we have 4 hourly windows. We have 6, 4, 8, 12, 16, 24, 6 4 hourly windows. And so we're on to our last 4 hourly of the day. Obviously 8 till 12 is the last 4 hours. And so this is going into the close. So hopefully that makes sense. That wasn't too confusing. If you can try and get things to align. Now, you can see from the snapshot data from 8 o'clock is that they're going ever so slightly long, which matches where the daily close sentiment shifted. So we may see a little bit of softness going into the close for the dollar, which can happen, which will then agree with what we're seeing here. So if you are trading the dollar, be careful, because we could be seeing a little reversal here, because then that would confirm the big picture. I suppose we can call that like the big picture view, and this is like the intraday. I'm not sure how useful the 1 hour and the 30 minutes could be, but obviously, it depends on your style of trading. You could be scalping in and out. It could be really useful for you. And so we definitely got confirmation on the dollar. So we can come to the bot. Which one is it? Okay, so this is what I mean with the reversal. There's the weak dollar, and this is the strong dollar, and that's that reversal. So according to the sheet, is that we can see a little bit of weakness, and we may come up, and we were taking some stops out at 108. I think we're going to maybe struggle to get to TP. However, look at today's performance. That's fantastic. So it's reversed all of yesterday's losses. We had some losses incurred because, you know, the volatility, and we got stopped out, and there was a little bit of poor execution on the time yesterday. And it's had a really good hit rate today. It's worth noting, you may notice that the profit is slightly larger, and that's because we've widened the stop loss and TP to 20 pips. 21 pips for TP, 20 pips for SL. We needed to widen the SL because of the naughtiness that we saw, and so that's that logic. So far, really good day, and I'd love it if we got to take profit, but we may see a little wick below because of what's going on with the retail sentiment. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be 100% guaranteed. We have to remember there are fundamental stuff going on, and it's not just the sentiment. It's not going to move just purely because of my myfxbook sentiment. It can't do it. It'll just be ludicrous if you think it's 100% guaranteed. It's not. Okay, so it's a good indication, but it's not like a seal of approval. It's going to do this. So, you know, bet your house on it. You just want to use it for confluence, okay? And I guess we can talk about gold. It might be a good point to talk about it. Now, gold's interesting because you want to be trying to combine fundamentals and technical and sentiment. This is a technical play where we've broken a demand. We'd fallen really heavily, and then we stopped it on its tracks, and you know, we had this sort of respect and a really nice little bounce here, and all the way back, and retracement back into that box, and no rejection. So I was saying towards 2326. Now we are okay still, but we'd need to hold this box, because what happened is that they sold. Okay, so fair enough, they got punished, and then they sold again. So if we do break below, it will mean that these guys get paid. So if we may well do, we may break it, and if we do, then it just simply means that it's probably a technical / fundamental thing that's going on, and it wouldn't be sentiment. So we have to remember the sentiment is part of an important layer in the cake, but it's not the be all and end all, because there are stuff moving the markets outside of sentiment. Okay, so it's really important to know that and to remember it as well. And I covered the dollar, so we may see that reversal, or you know, it's a good likelihood, but it's not guaranteed. Okay, and we have to remember that the the myfxbook clients have had an awful day today, and they may just get a little bit rewarded for their positioning, because they would have had a horrendous day, because you can see, you know, they'd gone long dollar, it got really screwed, and now they shorted the dollar, and then they got really screwed. So it could be a little bit of a payday just to keep them interested in the casino. Okay, so this may not work out, and ideally, if it doesn't, that's fine, because I don't really want it to get us to the stop loss. I'd love it to get to the TP, but we'll have to wait and see. And I guess we can use Discord, I suppose. DAX, they had to sell. They had to sell, and it's a weird place where they sold. It doesn't really make much sense that they would have sold there. Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense. Perhaps if they sold here, it would have been more sense, because it would have been below that low. But we can see we're clearly well supported, but yet they sold, and up we go. And so like the snooze, which is a little bit boring, to be honest. We'd love to see some nice moves to the downside, and then we can look to enter. But right now it's just chopping, isn't it? So be careful. And that was a little bit, I was going to say sinister. It's a little bit suspicious. Like, there's that punishment box, which is really weird and thin, and it acted as a resistance, and now it's back as a resistance again, and we've got another punishment box above from them going along. So it's maybe a little bit ominous, the Dow. and then we come to the US 500, and I was just saying, we're getting close to the 20%, 80, the 2080 logic. If you have some time, do a Google for Pareto principle, and that you'll find that's a common thing in the economic markets, and not just that, but in all facets of life. There's a 2080 rule that sort of governs, business and psychology, finance. It's very interesting. It's worth having a read about, and it tends to play out. But obviously, with things like DAX, we've definitely exceeded the Pareto principle. We can come to DAX, look at the sentiment, 14%. So it's ignored that. So US 500 might ignore it, but will they buy? That's the big question. And it looks like they might. If they do try and buy this dip, this is going to be the high, and this could be your stop loss. But you'd want to be really careful about shorting, because we're very strong, trending very strongly up. And I guess we can finish with oil. Now, interestingly, okay, so it might be better to show maybe. No, we'll just use that. I was going to open the terminal, but I'm not going to. So basically, we had a flip, and we had that reaction. We really hounded the retail guys. They had that moment of despair and fear, capitulation, them reassessing their life choices and getting depressed. What should I do? Oh my God, I bet too big. That sucks. I need to get out. And then them getting out of their shorts. There we go. And what is interesting is that what had happened here with the price, we made a double top at the prior punishment box. And I even did this screenshot just to see how close it was. It was bonkers. So it's almost saying, it's almost like testing the retail guys just to, it's almost looks like it's purely designed to punish the retail traders on that move. They got absolutely squished. They got just devastated and decimated. And they went back to the old punishment box, where it's the original place of their destruction. So it's very, very cruel. So it seems that it's working quite nicely, oil, on the FXCM trade station. So you could use it if you wanted to, but do remember that you need to respect your lot sizes, because this has a tendency to move in a huge way. So you wouldn't want to be putting a large size on it, because that kind of move would be pure destruction if you were wrong. However, if you'd got it right, which is per logic of the crossover, you would have done fantastic on that. And you could have exited at the crossover here. We can see there's a crossover here. Not a bad profit. And there's your stop loss. All right. And so that's today's video. We'll be back tomorrow, and then that'll be the weekly wrap-up video. And but then we'll be back for Sunday. And don't forget, on the sheet, we have got that COT data, which is refreshed automatically. So if you're interested in a particular currency, or perhaps an index, then you can certainly have a look at this. And this refreshed automatically, which is absolutely amazing. So thanks to the insiderweek.com, the fact that they've allowed this HTTP export is fantastic. It's really, really useful. And we've broken down the COT data here. So, you can look at that at your leisure, and you'll probably find that your FX is going to maybe change, but quite substantially, potentially, by Friday. And this will update as soon as the data comes out, and then you can just click on what you're interested in. And if you remember on the Sunday video, I was saying that euro and the pound were coming up to some resistance. So we'll have to see if that is the case. I suspect it may do. So trade safely, and I'll speak to you guys tomorrow evening.